Hey gang, just going over new pinball here. It's a Bally's Midway City Slicker. I took the back glass out because I'm working on this thing. I wish you guys could see it. This is a really limited game. They only made 300 of these, and who knows how many are in existence. This thing's kind of a time capsule. It's in really great shape. There's no major breaks on plastics or anything. This ramp's kind of messed up. We'll fix all that stuff, but I was able to get this game booting. It's in really fantastic condition considering, but it's really rare, so I'll kind of give you a quick tour of this thing. I don't know if people have seen one of these before. I got it booting out of storage, so I haven't cleaned it at all, but it's in good shape for not having been cleaned, you know. I've done a little bit of tearing some stuff apart there, and it's got this little upper ramp. It's got an upper flipper there. It's got an upper play field with a flipper there. Some quirky return lane action. Bally like to do that. Anyway, let's talk about this game and some general things about 6803s. Typical high voltage displays, alphanumerics. There's not much here. They basically just took... Let me turn this off. Ugh. Sorry, guys. Oh, then we got a flasher going. Sorry. So, take that out. So anyway, here's the board set in here, and here's a 6803 MPU and the power supply. And then this is the turbo cheap squeak board, soundboard, and so I got it working too. You can hear it going through this goofy attract mode music. But anyway, on to the game repairs. Most of your problems on these games are going to be on this power supply. Really, these MPUs are hardy as snot. I mean, they have Molex connectors and things and cold solder joints. The battery would leak. This one was saved, and I added a battery pack. We'll talk about that. But really, the main issues here are on... Sorry, I'm getting phone calls here. Take a look real quick at these fuse clips, and those are a problem. I've replaced them, most of them, and the other ones I ran out. I had to have burnished. The high voltage cap right here, you guys will see, whoops, right there. It's 160 UF, I think 220 volt, or maybe it's 350 volt, I'm sorry, cap. Those are really hard to come by. So I've used 150 UF, which is not necessarily what spec, 400 volt, that's the cap I used, and it's stable. There's very little AC ripple on it, but that's really what it's for. And I mean, I don't know that you really even know the difference between those two caps, but it tends to work fine. I did some research on it. So. But this high voltage section's bad. These big plugs up here, cold solder joints on the back of them are a huge deal. The fuse clips get black. Let me show you what they look like. That's what the tarnish looks like on those fuse clips, and I'll show you, if you don't have any handy, how to get that off in a second. But that's what I was dealing with, and the game would boot sometimes, and some things would work, and the GI wouldn't work, and this game actually had a catastrophic failure, and it looks like it was with the GI. You see that big burn hole? It just took out a big chunk of the board and the traces. So somebody got creative and resoldered to the pads back here this connector, and so they cut some stuff off this connector, added this connector, and soldered to the back of the board. Well, it works, but not my favorite repair. But there's a hole in the board, so at least it's decent, and I cleaned it up a little bit. But those are some things. One thing you want to do on the displays, these displays look pretty good, but there's a pot right there. That pot, you want to hook a meter up to the test point right below it, positive, and then the ground is down there. Hook a test point up to that. It should be 190 volts DC, and if you want to save the life of the displays, you can turn that down to about 170. So put your meter there and turn it down to, whoops, I'm shaking the camera, sorry. Turn that down to 170 and you'll get it good. And then up here, the battery pack, you want to solder that in. One real important thing here is you'll need a blocking diode on the positive side. There's certain diodes that have better, that lower the voltage less than others. I think I used I can't remember which one I used. It might be a 5815 or 5818, whatever it is.
It's really not that great because basically what happens, it drops the voltage, then your batteries quote unquote die faster to the board. That voltage has got to stay a certain amount, or so really there's all listed on this window here which diode you should use, and it has a low voltage drop. So but you have to put that blocking diode in there, otherwise the game's going to try and charge these batteries, and that's a bad thing. So but you want to remove those batteries from the board. So let's take a look at those fuse clips. Okay, so if you're going to clean those fuse clips up, I usually use a Dremel, and then I use this little metal wire brush. Dremel makes these. You can get them on Amazon. I think I got this at Harbor Freight. It's not that great of a quality one, but it does work great. It'll go bad soon, but basically this fuse clip is just shot. Sorry, focus. But if you don't have another one, I replace these, but you can get that tarnish off there. And you can do it by, what I do is I take this brush, I take some isopropyl alcohol, whoops, I'm dropping stuff, and I put it on this thing and on the brush, and then I wheel it. Sometimes I'll clean it up with like a bristle brass brush, but this thing has so many nooks and crannies in it that you can see that the fuse isn't going to make very good contact there. So let's clean one up and see what it looks like. I can't, I'm doing this one-handed, so I really can't do this on screen for you. Oops, okay, I dropped one there, sorry. Let me show you what I did. So I just put this thing in there and alcohol on it, and the outside of it's not as important, but the inside is really what you got to focus on. And you can see I got all that black stuff off there, and I'll give it another pass on the outside to polish this up, but that would do it. Looking at the other one, you can see just how bad they get. And like I said, they're cheap. They're 30 cents a piece. I replace them. Pinball Life carries them. Marco carries them. Great Plains Electronics carries them. And it's a great... That will solve a lot of problems in these games. Oddly enough, those fuse clips get so tarnished. The last thing on this game I want to talk about, a couple more things, is this board is an all-in-one, so it's got the driver section on it too, these transistors. I do have a locked-on flasher here. You'll want to check. There's diodes on. There's a diode on this thing. I haven't checked that yet, but the transistors and the diodes are suspect when you have locked on stuff. The lamp drivers are on the other side here. You got obviously one 6803 processor and I think maybe just two PIAs, and that's about it, and some ROMs. So it's a pretty slick little board. The other thing with this game is this thing. Oh, the keypad. Easy, Bally, easy as ABC. Well, this thing is anything but easy, and I could make an entire video on this and it would drive you guys crazy because the game they're so goofy. But you have to use this to do settings. When your battery dies, you're gonna have to reset most of the stuff on your game just to boot a game. I did that on this, and I was able to set it to free play and save it, which means my battery works and all that. And so if I start a game, here it goes. And I get a ball kicked out in the shooter lane. So this thing's working. I just got to get the rest of it finished and shopped out. I'll probably make a video about this one since it's so rare, just to have it on YouTube so people can see it. There's a few videos out there if you want to go look, but this thing is actually a pretty neat little game. So at any rate, we'll get this shopped out and cleaned up and re-rubbered and LED'd, and it should look pretty cool. So thanks for watching.